Welcome to our global network webinars. Today we are happy to have with us Ahmed Al-Mufarji of the National Center of Statistics and Information, NCSI, of the Sultanate of Oman, who will talk about Oman's experience in utilizing mobile positioning data for official statistics. The NCSI Oman has accomplished a major achievement by using mobile positioning data for official statistics and making it one of the important data sources for the measurement of tourism, population, and commuting in the Sultanate of Oman. The use of mobile positioning data allows to reduce the volume of field surveys and reduces the number of visits to households and companies. Furthermore, it allows to increase the speed with which the NCSI can respond to the requirements of national development plans and allows the NCSI to cover new statistical areas as required. This achievement is a paradigm shift in the production processes of high-quality official indicators. The integrated production system at the national level supports the decision-making process in Oman with social, economic, environmental, and cultural indicators, and with indicators measuring the development performance. Let me now introduce our main speaker today. Ahmed works for the National Center of Statistics and Information, NCSI, of Oman as an application manager. He has worked with different types of statistical surveys and participated in the censuses 2003, 2010, 2020 as a business analyst and information officer. Ahmed is also heading the digital transformation team at NCSI. During his whole career, he had an active role in utilizing IT in performing statistical business processes. From the onset of the Big Data project, he has been appointed as the head of the local team executing the mobile phone data project. Now I would like to mention a couple of practical things before I hand over to Ronald who also wants to say a couple of words. We will first hear the presentation and will then have a Q&A session at the end. Please feel free to write your questions into the meeting chat at any time. During the Q&A session, we can either ask the question for you, or you can raise your hand in Teams and ask the question yourself. As always, this global network webinar is being recorded and will be made available on the global network of data officers and statisticians at yammer.com/unstats. We invite you to continue the discussions on the global network after the webinar. And now, before I hand over then finally to Ahmed for his presentations, I will give Ronald Jensen, the chief of the Data Innovation and Capacity Branch of the United Nations Statistics Division, the chance to also say a couple of words. Over to you, Ronald. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alex, for the introduction. So yes, I'm Ronald Jensen. I'm with the United Nations in New York. With the Data Innovation and Capacity Development Branch, we're supporting the work which has been developed in this community of official statistics, the work on use of big data and data science. A few years back, under the UN Statistical Commission, there was a group created which specifically was asked to look into how statistical officers could use big data and data science for official statistics. That group now is recently been called the United Nations Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics. It has a number of task teams underneath which are looking in specific areas. One of those is mobile phone data, and I will come back to that and say a bit more about that. There are other task teams there looking at different data sources, how it could be used. We have one on Earth observations, satellite data, to look how that can be used for agricultural statistics and environment statistics. There's a group looking, working with scanner data, web scraping for price statistics. We have a group also that looks at use of the AIS vessel tracking data, and that's which looks at positions and speed of ships at real time. And it's been used for maritime transport statistics, and also to estimate trade. We have one group that specifically looks how big data can be used for the Sustainable Development Goals, for the indicators there. And then for instance, we have one group also that looks specifically at one of those indicators, which is the measurement of access by rural population to all season roads. And then we have a few cross-cutting teams. A new one is the acquisition of global private sector data. And then we have one that is quite important for the work on mobile phone data, and that's the one which is on privacy preserving techniques. It looks how privacy can be protected while accessing data, and in the case of mobile phone data, it's something certainly where we would like to make links. And also that particular group on privacy preserving techniques has a subgroup looking at the legal implications, and that's something that's also in the area of mobile phone data important. Last but not least, we have a cross-cutting team looking at training. So what kinds of skills are needed in the use of big data, data science? What skills are available in the offices already? And that training team also is looking at training curriculum for instance, if your office wants to use mobile phone data, what kind of skills need to be developed, what kind of curriculum could be put together so that staff could be trained in that way. Now turning to the task team on mobile phone data, that's where Oman and Ahmed is also working with. That team is, that mobile phone team is led by the ITU, the International Telecommunications Union. We're very happy that they will be leading that work. We have about 15 countries in there, recently added Romania, India, Malaysia. All of that information is also on the website. This is on studyun.org/big data, and then you can look at the task teams. You will see more information. Now, this mobile phone data group has been very active. They have one handbook already out there to give practical information how you can work with this data. And they're working on a number of additional handbooks looking at specific applications, like how it can be used for migration, tourism statistics, but also like displacements and disaster statistics, or dynamic population mapping. Now, all of that is, of course, much more interesting if it is applied practically in a country. So I'm very happy that we will hear today from Oman how that is being done. Let me add also here that besides statistical officers, we are very happy that we have support from not only international organizations like ITU or the World Bank and others, but also private sector or not-for-profit organizations who are working in this area. And I mentioned one here in particular, which is Positium. We have a number of the colleagues from Positium here on the in this presentation, and Ahmed will probably also refer to that, how they helped at the national level to implement the project. I stop here. More information is on the website, but I would like to leave the floor now to Ahmed to really present what was done in Oman over the last couple of years. Please, Ahmed, over to you.
Thanks, Ronald. What's the presentation? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know you are coming from different part of the world, different timings. So thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. Thanks also for the organizers for letting us sharing our experience and knowledge in how to utilize MBD in for official statistics. So let me start with introducing NCSI to the audience, and then we will continue in the presentation.
Under its wise leadership, the Sultanate of Oman continues to prosper and grow in every way. However, to achieve sustainable growth, it is vital that we can accurately measure our progress. This is the headquarters of the National Centre for Statistics and Information, or the NCSI for short. The NCSI has been established by royal decree to collect data and measure everything in Oman, so that people can make informed, knowledgeable decisions that allow Oman to continue to flourish. The NCSI send professional researchers to every corner of the Sultanate. They then collect important data and send it back to NCSI headquarters, where it can be processed and analysed and used to improve Oman's quality of life. Whenever you read about employment and labour forces in the public and the private sector, you'll notice the facts and figures are supplied by the National Centre for Statistics and Information. But that's not all we do. The NCSI measures everything from healthcare to education to immigration to commerce and industry. The NCSI has also formed close relationships with other government ministries to ensure Oman's decision makers have access to the most accurate information possible. Anybody can download our free smartphone apps that give you instant access to everything you want to know about Oman. This is an exciting time for the NCSI and an exciting time for Oman as we move towards a fully operational knowledge economy that will give future generations of Omanis the ability to compete and succeed on the world stage. The NCSI, enhancing knowledge.
Yes, that is the vision of NCSI, enhancing the knowledge, and the mission. I will quote it from the website, is to satisfy the government's need of official statistics and reliable information to be used in setting policies and programs on local, regional, and international levels, taking into consideration the accelerating economic and social variables. We also seek to satisfy the needs of all authorities in acquiring data in all areas of development. So I guess to meet this vision and mission, uh, we need to work differently. We need to, if we continue depending on the traditional surveys, uh, using traditional data sources, I guess we will be far behind the demand. We need to utilize whatever we have data sources in hand or not in our hand. like MBD data sources we are talking about today. And to do this, you need also a very strong supportive tools, and we have this. We have very strong legal basis. In 2014, when the system of National Center for Statistics and Information was issued, it granted the center a broad power to collect and store raw data produced by government agencies and non-government agencies. So that is including private sector. And that also supported by the new law and new law of statistics and information, which was issued recently in 2019. Uh, in that article number 19, it stated that the NCSI can get the required raw data from all organizations here in Oman for free. So these two articles helped us a lot in accessing the data. So I can say this is the magic recipe here or for the successful of this project. I guess there is also one question from the in the global network about this. So this is what we enabled us to succeed in this project. Also in this new law, punishments were clearly also stated for those non-government organizations or agencies when they refuse to provide the data to NCSI. But we are not using this. We are depending on MOU we have signed with so many numbers of agencies, including government and private agencies. So this has also helped us a lot because we signed two MOU with both companies here in Oman, Omantel and Ooredoo. Very introduction, a small introduction also about the telecommunications service sector here in Oman. Our population is around 5.5 people, and the number of mobile subscribers is around 6.2 million. So the penetration rate is quite good. The telecommunications sector is supervised by Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, and right now we have two companies in operation. They are providing service in all over the Oman with 50% market share. We have the telecommunication law managing this sector, and it was issued in 2002 and amended in 2008. So it's older than the laws and regulation regarding the NCSI. So whatever articles stated for NCSI, they are overwritten all the articles mentioned in this law, the telecommunication law. And the telecommunication law has given this authority the responsibility of managing for protecting the data of subscribers and their confidentiality and privacy. So here in this point, we had a lot of discussion with TRA, and we ensure them that the privacy of the data we get from the telco companies is totally protected, and it is totally protected. So all the successful factors for the project were there. Law was there, and it is very supportive. MOUs, as I mentioned, we have signed with both telco companies, and we had help, cooperation between us even before this project. We brought all the stakeholders. I remember in the first presentation we had regarding this big data for official statistics, they were there. And then we established a team. They were with us from the beginning, from tender document articulating, evaluating the proposals and selecting the service provider. So they were with us all the trip till the end, and this also helped us a lot in ease the communication between us, between NCSI and TRA and MNOs. The objective is simple, is proof of concept. I remember when we attended the first conference regarding big data for official statistics. It was in 2014 in China. We have seen that these kind of data sources are promising, and their benefits in theory were clear. But we wanted to try this out. We wanted to see the result in real. So we wanted to be active in this. We participated we asked to be member in UWG, and then in the task team. I know this is maybe the most difficult data source because you deal with very sensitive information. And then we decided to have a project to make sure that the MBD in Oman can be used and can be useful for our official statistics. And then also we will get benefit by promoting the MBD here in Oman and promoting big data in general, because we have seen also some other organizations using other big data sources in their duties and responsibilities. So return of investment, this is clear, this is general, but really we are we can see this. For example, now we can generate statistics breaking down into very small, very short time, in hours, not days. We can know how many people are in Muscat, for example. Muscat is the capital city during working hours, during working days. Also, we have indicators like tourism indicators breaking down into a very small geographical area. And this is very required because sometimes we need to count the visitors not to the whole wilaya, to that specific area. Also, we have seen or we have heard that like ITU, I think, was supervised or managing a project to generate ICT statistics. ICT statistics from MBD. We think also logistic and transportation might be a target for MBD to generate statistics on that domain. For cost efficiency, I guess it is cost effective because I'm always giving this example about Salalah region. We are doing annual count survey for all the visitors who are entering this area. This is the far region. This is in the south of Oman. This is the weather in the summer when all the cities, the temperature is too high, around 45, sometimes 50. But here, this is the weather. So a lot of visitors from Oman, from outside Oman, they are visiting. So we are counting the visitors from June to September. And that cost us around 100,000 Omani Riyal. This is around 260,000 US dollar. So imagine if we repeat this survey in all the tourist attraction area in Oman. We have 11 regions, and we are counting for the whole year, not only for 3 months. It will cost us a lot. And if we can get the same result or even closer result to the survey from MBD, it will save a lot of money from us. The deliverables of the project, we have a few dissemination materials. I will share with you some of them today. We have also created API to share the resulted indicators with internal third-party applications for NCSI, and even third-party applications belong to other organization. What's the most important deliverable here is the centralized database. This database, we will make it available for other domain experts to come, maybe to do some deep analysis or data mining, to generate maybe new statistics, or give some explanation about maybe some events happening around us. So this is the most most important deliverable for us in this project. Regarding the data flow, actually, in the beginning we had two options. One option is to keep the raw data into telecommunication company side, and then we go there and we run our methodology scripts. We do the aggregation, and then we brought the aggregated result to the centralized database in NCSI, and then do the further processing. This is one option. Second option is to bring the raw data outside the telco companies, brought them into the centralized database in NCSI, and then do the further processing. In the beginning, the first option was chosen, and then because the MNO have to provide a lot of resources, not only human resources, also space, disk, office. So they preferred to give us the raw data, and then in the end we chose the second option. I know this is I heard many discussion or different opinion in this, but this is, I think, maybe it was better for our project. It gives us more control on the data. We can run the script many times. We can do some deep analysis, especially when we are testing the quality of the data. So data is brought, raw data is brought from telco companies into the centralized database. Here we do the quality check, cleansing the data, and then running the methodology scripts, doing some aggregation based on MNO data, and then we merge these two aggregated data into one centralized database, and from here we are exchanging the resulting indicators into the with the third-party applications. So this is the flow of the data within the project. And these are example of resulting indicators. We have indicators in population domain, tourism domain, and commuting domain. For commuting domain, this is something new. We haven't produced any indicator before, and because mostly we were depending on traditional surveys. So the project were divided into three phases. Phase one, our concern was about how to access the data, whether the data is good enough for further processing or not. Second phase, once that first phase was passed, then second phase is to start developing the methodologies and writing the methodology scripts. Phase three is to, again, once also we generated sample indicators to check whether the data we are having is good enough also to generate the statistics. And then the third phase is to develop the applications for disseminating the resulting data or resulting indicators. So during the phase one, we had so many meetings with TRA, some of them technical, so some of them non-technical, Yeah, some of them even we discussed the legal side of the project. We had also so many meetings with the MNOs, and then we started validating the sample. Like for example, we are checking the first maybe 100 records from MNO, from both MNO, and once the data format is okay, then we give a green light to MNOs to extract the required data. They extracted 6-month data, and they took 1 week to extract this amount of data. And then we brought the data, as I mentioned before, into the centralized database. We started doing the checking and cleansing the data. So the data which was required for the project, domestic data. This is events data about the domestic subscribers, inbound roaming data, outbound roaming data, sales information, and some demographic data about the subscribers. We removed the outbound roaming data from the scope because we found that it's not very beneficial for the project. You know, when you arrive to when you arrive to a destination country, usually you get a welcome message from your mobile service provider to welcome you and tell you about the roaming prices. So that in Oman, that message is free, and all the message coming to you when you are abroad are free. So we have seen, and they are not recorded in the telecommunication companies' databases. So we found that it's not very useful, but the rest is okay. And all the reference data we needed for the project, we got them from NCSI itself. So during phase one, as I mentioned, mostly about quality check, cleansing the data, and the quality. We were looking at the data from 4 aspects: subscribers. We want to make sure that all the subscribers in the subscriber files is available, or they are available in the event file. And all the subscribers in the event file also they are exist in the subscriber file. The time, there's no missing time or missing days in the data set. There is a continuity in subscriber data, so there is no discontinuity, as I mentioned. For the location, I mean here about cell location, we are not only checking that the cells should be inside the country, but also the distance between cells. So, for example, if I am here today and connecting to a nearby cell, if I move, if the next event record created with a cell maybe 200 kilometers away from here, this is not logic. And that's, for example, like in 5 minutes. This is not logic because 200, I cannot move from this point to another point 200 kilometers away in 5 minutes. So also we are checking that kind of data of checks. Country of origin, that all the inbound event data has the country of origin, and it's not and it's clearly mentioned in the data set. Same thing also for domestic data. So quality assurance framework, maybe Sim, you can give some highlight about this.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So as Ahmed said, we looked at a couple of different things in the data, but all in all, we want to look at the quality of this data source in a holistic way. And for that, we can look at the framework developed by UNIC as a base. So we adapted it to our own circumstances, but basically the big data quality framework provides a structured view of quality at 3 phases of the business process. So input, throughput, and output, which is also how we viewed it, and across 3 hyper dimensions. So, so not only the source, the privacy and security and confidentiality of the source, but also completeness of the metadata and completeness of the data itself. So the first thing we did in phase 1 was to look at raw data, review the input data and see whether it's consistent, perform logical checks on everything that Ahmed said, and ensure validity for statistics. And if faults are found in data, then we went back to the operator, mobile operator, to request the data again and have it corrected. And more often than not, corrections are possible. And only once the raw data passes the quality gate can we move on to processing. So Positium created a full report of quality checks on the data to NCSI, and the next slide actually shows you a few of the indicators that we checked in this initial phase. So 29 aspects of mobile phone data quality assurance. And some of these indicators are critical to have right. For example, uniform cell coverage across the country, or continuity of subscriber IDs, or consistency of data over days, weeks, and months. And there were other indicators that were important or nice to have. And I think Ahmed will now give you some examples of the many quality checks we did.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Yeah, this is one kind of test. We are checking the cell location from both files. So the red one is the from cell file, and the logic is there behind this. So this is where the dark color. These are the big cities like Muscat here, and Dhofar is here. And the rest is following the main roads. Same theme is here with the green. This is from the event file. So this will give you some logic behind the sales data that we received from the telco companies. This is another check. We are checking the continuity of the subscriber data in the event data for the whole day. So this is for domestic, and also this is exactly matching the day life of local people here in Oman. So start with the 12 o'clock early morning, and then it's going down. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, starting going up. This is where when the people here go to work and schools. So it's going up to the peak here, and then again going down during the nap time, and then again from 4 o'clock afternoon or evening, people started going out and then going down again to the midnight. So this is the standard life here in Oman. And it is the same thing for the inbound data events. It is same thing, almost same, with a little difference. This is another check. We are checking here about the number of countries in the inbound data set. So we found that every day we have around between 105 and 120 different countries in the inbound file. So that means we have at least people from like 120 country available every day in Oman. And then once all the quality checks were positive or good enough to move on to the next phase, we moved to the next phase. We started developing the methodologies, and the whole process were around 13 processes. Starting with bringing reference data, bringing sales data, bringing data from MBD, from telco companies, and then we started doing data cleansing. We have 3 types of data cleansing, and then after that we divided the country into small grids, and then we started calculating anchor points, and these are the most important thing that helped us in calculating the indicators. So for data cleansing, these are sample of data cleansing we have done against the data. We need to exclude all the data coming from SIM cards in IoT. So there is a methodology applied to the data, and if that data is matching that methodology, we're excluding that data from the calculation. We are checking cell cover and cell error prediction, speed and distance filter. This is for those who are flying over the Oman. Maybe while they are flying, they are connecting to ground cells. We are also removing them from the data set. Presence in countries, accidental roaming. This is for the subscribers, foreigner subscribers who live along the border, and from time to time they are connecting to Omani cells, CMAN filter, and country of source. So these are the example of data cleansing we have applied on the data. And then, as I mentioned, we divided the whole Oman into small grids, as you can see here in the map. And then, based on this, we have calculated these anchor points for each subscriber. So for each subscriber we calculated his home anchor point, secondary home, work, secondary work, and other regular anchors. Now, then the movement between these anchors the movement and the time when he was there is determining the home. Yeah, for example, if I spend more time during night here, so this is my home. If I spend more time during the working time in a specific area, that is my working anchor point. And then we have applied, this is another quality check, Sim.
Yes, so after all this hard work, all of the data cleansing, it has to end up somewhere. So the second phase ends in a quality gate as well, which is about the processing or throughput. So this quality gate is most useful in the design and build phase of the project, which is phase 2. And there are, of course, there are several configurable parameters in the system, and to get it right, some methodology adjustment loops need to be made. And every loop ends with the quality checks. Sometimes several parameters can be tested at once under multiple scenarios. So at the end of each loop, the data and processing logs are checked to decide on the next steps. And if necessary, adjustments are made in the methodology and algorithms. And once the system is ready, that's when a positive evaluation is made in the quality gate, and results can be generated. So this is where we move on to phase 3.
Yeah.
Also in this presentation.
In phase 3, we started developing the dissemination products, and this is one of the dissemination product. This is will show you the animation of daily arrivals of inbound tourists in Oman from the top 10 countries. I'll play this, and each month they are different. So without MPD, we wouldn't be able to generate kind of indicators and animation like this. So May, then June, I'll show you one more animation. This is the second animation about the changes in commuting between home and work during a week. And you will see that the spark are going up during the working days, during the working hours, and is going down during the weekend and non-working hours. So I'll play this. I'm not sure how much time left for me. I'll try to be very quick. So you see the sparks there here. They are Muscat, the capital city. Most of the jobs are here. So people are coming from all over Oman to Muscat for work. And Sunday. So Sunday, this is the first working day in Oman. Monday, working hours is going up and going down during non-working hours. And Thursday is the last working day here in Oman. You will see in Friday it is so yeah. I have another animation, but let me go to the web page dashboard. We have developed this dashboard to play with the data. So I'll switch to here. We have the map here. We have different options here with the calendar. So for example, I can choose this animation. Let me go to and then if I click anywhere here, I'll get this chart. If I choose, for example, tourism, another chart, I can switch to Arabic and English. I can choose day or month. I can choose wilaya or governorate, region or wilaya. This is wilaya is smaller than regions, so I can choose the month here. So whenever whatever I do here, it applied here. So very quick, this is dashboard. It will be public very soon. We are just checking and making sure that all the metadata is available. If I click here on remarks, all the metadata explanation about these indicators and the process will be displayed here. Going back to the presentation. I was here. Let me go straight to the maybe last two slides. Now we are checking the result of this project. So for example, here you can see population in 3 regions from 3 different data sources. Dark blue is from big data, light blue from administrative records, and the red line, this is e-census. This is only in December. This is the recent census, e-census in Oman. So you can see here, you can see in government in Muscat region, the result or the indicators from MPD and admin almost close, and they are also close to the census. And if you go down to April and May, almost they match each other. And what has happened last year in Oman here, Muscat was closed, locked down completely because of the pandemic. And then most of the people who are living in Muscat, they went back to their original home, and they spent quite amount of time there. Because after locking down Muscat, It took like 3 months or 4 months. Most of the work was happened remotely. In Al-Wusta, this is different. Al-Wusta has the special economic zone. Most of the people there are workers. They are temporary working there. So MBD is bringing a lot, a large number than administrative, and census is almost matching the administrative. So this is also a logic thing here in Al-Wusta. In Musandam, this is another border government near United Arab Emirates. To go there from Muscat, you have to cross United Arab Emirates. So most of the people are staying there and working there. So you can see that e-census is closer, result is closer to the result of MBD than the administrative. We are still checking the data. We are still adjusting the methodology to make the results more acceptable and more logic. There is another comparison we have done. Again, the light. This is from Visa administrative records, and the dark blue is from MBD. And you can see also the results are very close, and the trend is also same. But in April, May, and June, MBD was bigger than administrative. And sorry, let me. Sorry about that. The reason in April, May, June, a lot of Omani students who are studying abroad, they brought back by and probably they are using the external SIM card for for administrative. Of course, they are Omanis. That's why I guess from April, May, June, MBD was larger than administrative. The last slide and last comparison we have done about Salalah, the region I told you about in the beginning. So we have the data in 2018, and because of the pandemic, we stopped this survey in 2019 and 2020. And this is maybe one of the benefits that we will get from MBD. So for any reason, whatever circumstances in the ground, we can still get the results. We can still generate official statistics. So this is for 2018, and if you can see, the trend is almost same. Here the peak, same thing, the peak for MBD, and it's going down. This is for 3 months, from June to September, and this is only from one company. I think if we added the data from second company, the gap will be closer. This is all from my side. Thank you so much. Sorry, the last slide, maybe the way forward. We have done a training for statistician to start playing with the data, maybe thinking to generate new statistics out of this. We also started training the IT technicians to manage the infrastructure, manage the applications, maybe adding more programs. We are validating the result, adjusting the methodologies, as I mentioned here before, adding more metadata to make it more clearer for the public when they browse it from the internet. We are thinking also to introduce new domains, and that's it. Thank you so much for your listening.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thank you, Sim, for this presentation. I would like now to open up the floor for questions, and so I would like people either to raise their hand using the function in MS Teams, or to write their question into the meeting chat. And Ahmed, if you could unshare your screen, that would be amazing. Thanks so much. So if you have any questions, I see a hand up by Vinita. Vinita, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the nice presentation from Ahmed from Oman. I'm Winida from Indonesia. We are now also working with the NPD for official statistics, and I think this presentation also relate to us. I'm sorry because I entered this room a bit late, so maybe I missed some information. So I just want to know how do you calibrate the data from MPD to be able to produce the number estimates for population for commuting for the number of to represent the population, and also since the data is owned by the private company, how do you ensure the sustainability of the data for the future statistic in Oman? And the third is how do you manage the quality assurance of the data? Do you have, like, for example, like I don't know how do you do that to ensure that that the algorithm that you apply to the MPD is really have a good quality as the same as the conventional one, the real one. That's from me. Looking forward for the answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinita. Ahmed, over to you. Sim. Ahmed, you want to take this question right away, or should we have a look at the other questions as well?
It's up to you, Alex.
Maybe you can start with this one, and then we come back to other questions in the chat or those which were sent in during the registration. Please go ahead.
Fine. So regarding the sustainability, when we started the project, we found that both companies, they already started using big data and they are offering services out of this data. So they have the platform, they know the process, and they know how important to continue into this process. This is one. Secondly, as I mentioned, the law, the regulations, all are supporting us, and they are forcing the companies to provide data, and punishment not only for not refusing to giving data, punishment also for delaying giving data. So when they delay giving data, there's also a punishment in that law. Plus, we have seen that the companies also, they have some interest to cooperate with us, and if we could monetize the result, I think they will be part of it, and they will love to work with us, and maybe to improve and even support generating more data products. For the quality assurance, yeah, as Sam mentioned, we were making sure that the quality is met right from the beginning, from assessing the resourcing, assessing the companies themselves, assessing the processes around the data. Plus, we are now checking the data, the resulted data against same result from different data sources, and we'll try to know why there's gap, and if there is gap, if there is no logic behind that gap, then we need to maybe adjust the methodology. So that work is also going on. For the estimation and Maybe I'll leave this to Sim. Maybe Sim, you need to comment on this.
Yes, sure. And I think Indonesia is also making good headway in this. So, so as much to learn from Indonesia as to learn from Oman. But yes, big data often detects phenomena that administrative or survey data can miss sometimes. And so, how can we check how accurate the data is? For example, for temporary population, if we don't have data and population from any other source. However, we can pick and choose those data sources which we can compare, and these are also the sources that we use for calibration. So quality checks and calibration, they go hand in hand in this case. So for example, Oman completed e-census last year, and this becomes a very important source of calibration data because as it's e-census, it includes all different types of administrative data sources to come up with the most accurate idea of population, where people are actually living. So this becomes a very important source of truth, and luckily we can compare this directly to 2020 mobile phone data. For tourism, it's difficult because, as you know, there is no ground truth for tourism, but we do what we can with immigration data and so on.
Thanks so much. We are already a little bit over time, but I hope our attendees and our presenters still can stay with us for a little bit. So I would like to maybe extend the Q&A session for another 5 to 10 minutes. So I will not talk any further. We have a couple of hands up. Ronald first, and then maybe Alexander, and then Matthew. Ronald, over to you.
Yes, thank you. I really like to come in because it was a very good presentation. I just wanted to underline that. I thought it was great how you covered all of the various areas of what in a practical situation you will be faced with if you set up this kind of use of mobile phone data for official statistics. So I'm very glad with this presentation. I saw also from the chat that we have others also praising the presentation, and I think I wanted to put that on record. I have two questions. So one is on the IT architecture. So I saw you indicated that you put all of the data outside of the MNO into is this into a data center run by NCSI, or are you using commercial cloud? I just wanted to know how that is arranged. And then on the I think what's important is the anchor point models that you use, right? And I have a bit of a general question there. It's might be both for Ahmed and for Sim. Do you have to change this kind of methodology behind the anchor point models per country? Could you use what you've developed here straight into another country, or is this the kind of methodology needs to be adapted from country to country? I just wanted to get a bit of your ideas on that. So how it also could be used for other countries on the line here would be interested to do this. Could they use that methodology? Would you have to make things change things on that? Okay, let me finish to say that I'm really looking forward to the dashboard to become public soon. I will be the first one to go onto it. I want to see how that works. I also found it very nice, the pictures of Salalah, and when I come to visit Oman, I'll probably go there. So thank you for that as well. Back to you.
Ahmed, yeah, maybe you can answer this question, and then we take the next one. Thanks.
Yeah, I will start with that wish that to visit Salalah. Actually, I remember we planned. We asked the GWG to host the conference, next conference here in Oman, and we wanted to make it in Salalah. So all the people who are participating, they will see it by their eyes. But hopefully, maybe after this pandemic is gone. For the commercial, yes, all the data were moved to a commercial cloud here inside Oman. And actually, this is a trend. This is our plan for NCSI. Maybe in like next few months, we will not have a data center inside NCSI. So all our applications and data and systems will be moved to this cloud. This is a semi-government cloud. So yeah, and the infrastructure is almost big. It's not small infrastructure. For example, the memory is 64 GB and the disk is 6 terabyte. So it's quite big. For the anchor points, maybe this is more or less close to SIM experience. SIM.
Yes, sure. So, Ronald, good question, actually. Very good question. Can the methodology be adjusted for different countries? And it's not only about anchor point, but other model aspects as well. It's important not to have too rigid parameters for your model, whatever model you're building. So the anchor point model itself allows for some flexibility. So that's good. It has worked in Oman. It has worked also well in Indonesia. It is important to know that any methodology, when you apply it, should always go through methodology adjustment loop. So you have to be very careful that you test your methodology, whether it actually works in the specific country. There's no Hail Mary. You cannot do one run and hope that everything will be all right. You have to check and maybe even run different scenarios for some parameters that you can configure.
Thanks so much. So I would say we have another 5 minutes, so I would like to ask Alexander to unmute himself next, and then over to our other guest, Maser. So Alexander, please keep it short.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I just wanted to expand on my comment in the chat on you mentioned you might use the data for monitoring commuting patterns, but is there a reason you're concentrating on commuting rather than mobility in general? Because in particular with the SDG agenda, if we only focus on the 20 or 30% of trips that are commuting, we might get a very big skew in terms of gender and monitoring people with disabilities and underrepresented populations. And kind of related to this, you showed how you can distinguish maybe the home and the workplace in one of your slides. Is it possible also to identify shopping trips or escorting education trips, for example? Thank you.
Thanks, Alexander. And then I would like to hand over directly to Maser. Sorry if I butcher your name. I hope I get it roughly right. Maser.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for the good presentation, Mr. Ahmad. I just would like to ask whether Mr. Ahmad can share how the information, how you get the information from the MNO, how detailed you get, especially for the subscriber in terms of name, ID, or address. And then for the location, what kind of data that you get from the MNO? Is it in longitude or latitude information? And then for the algorithms, is it based on 1 year algorithms, or is it in time series when you develop the algorithms? Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So directly to Ahmed, over to you.
So I will leave the Alexander questions to Sim. the other question. Yeah, so we got raw data from MNO. For subscribers, we got subscriber ID and the MZ ID, MZ ID or MZ code, but MZ was what's called sure what I forget the word. So for the cells, yeah, cell location plus other information about cells, longitude and yeah, we have got them in the cell file. Demographic data about subscribers, they were not very useful because here in Oman, for example, for example, my family members, all their SIM cards on my name. So we have got like 80% of the subscribers are male out of the data. So we found that demographic data coming from the MNOs are not very useful unless they get this get updated and corrected in MNO SIM.
Yes. Okay, so I'll take Alexander's question then. I understand that the question is about why we look at commuting, not all mobility. So for statistics, commuting is a regular area of interest. Collecting commuting statistics is very regular. Of course, with mobile phone data, you can look at all travels, all types of mobility, especially at a long distance. So you can basically cut and choose which types of mobility you want to look at. So whether it's regular mobility, like commuting, which is daily, the most regular mobility that you can have, or you can look at transit, you can look at domestic tourism, and basically cut mobility into different areas. Sure. There's no reason to stop only at commuting. However, for statistics, that's the baseline.
Thanks so much, Sim and Ahmed. I'm afraid that we're coming now to the end of our webinar, Global Network webinar today. I still see a good number of questions in the meeting chat, and I would suggest that we probably take this or continue this discussion then on the global network of data officers and statisticians. I have shared, I mean, many of you are already members on the global network. For those attendees who are not yet members of the global network, please join it. I shared at the beginning of the event also a link to our information pages, so you can find information there on how to join the global network. And yeah, so I would suggest that maybe some of those questions that we came up during the registration process that weren't answered yet, or which came up today, that we can maybe answer those on the global network. So that would be one. And now, before I let you everybody go, I would like to ask everyone who's attending the meeting, please unmute yourself. So this is your chance to unmute yourself during the meeting without any problem. And please give Ahmed and Sim a big round of applause for their great presentation. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining today, and see you next time for our next Global Network webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the
Thanks.
recording.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Well done.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.